All right. Let's see. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's had a good, long and safe Thanksgiving holiday. I know mine was very nice and definitely too short. It felt like I was nonstop all the time. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, last week here was definitely definitely low volume if we really want to jump into everything here, I'm just going to go ahead and point out that futures are a little bit under pressure as of right now. ES is down about 0.7%. The NASDAQ is down about 100 points or 0.86% here to kind of get things going for the overnight session. So, last week, a lot of things were right where they wanted to be, and nothing has changed in the broad perspective. So, the majority of things right now they are most definitely right at overhead resistance, which we do want to pay attention to. That is going to be the main issue going into this week, and just kind of paying attention to and being aware of the risk to reward setups. So we definitely want to really just kind of be focused about where things are at and where they have potential to go, and we'll just kind of go from there. So all of the major indices are pretty much near major resistances, and if you take a look at the VIX, we've talked about how the VIX is coming right down to this 20 level. This is a big level for the VIX, and the VIX has just been on a steady roll on downward. And VIX, we could see a bounce here at 20, or it could just kind of blow through it. It's just one of those things where we either hold steady here, or we get a bounce on the VIX, and that would give us an ultimately a pullback on the SPY, and overall, watching the SPX in that regard too. If you take a look at the SPX, you can kind of see last week we didn't get, I mean, we made some progress, but it wasn't a whole lot. We hit that 4,000 level. We're just shy of the daily 200. And that's really what I'm talking about. So we got that overhead resistance right about that 40-50 level. That is the daily 200 on the SPX. But we're also want to see and make sure that we can handle any kind of pullback to the hourly 50, which is the blue line here on my chart. Yeah, we want to pay attention to that. And, when you're looking at your charts or you're looking at your watch list, uh, just see where those major resistance levels are in comparison to the risk reward setup. Because obviously, right now, we got a little bit of wiggle room to the upside as opposed to just a little bit more wiggle room to the downside, to test support. So, now is a good reminder to really remind everyone that, technically speaking, we are still in a market to where we do have a pattern of lower lows and lower highs, especially on the weekly chart. If you pull up a weekly chart, you'll see that we still have not really made a new higher high on our indices. So we want to be mindful of that in that regard, and just be mindful that, yeah, the any kind of big bounce that we do have does tend to come in a bear market. So just kind of a friendly reminder of that. And we aren't going to be immune to all of the uh, outside forces this week. We got some Fed speakers, we got some data coming out. So we definitely want to be uh, overall mindful of that. And let's see, I just wanted to say good evening to everybody who's joining me in the Discord as well as the social media. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout there. So I appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out with me tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or type in the chat. If you have any ticker requests, you are more than welcome to shout them out, and we'll definitely take a look at those as we go along. But I just right now what we want to do is we always start at the top, and then we kind of work our way down to the bottom, and just get a good feel about where we're at, where we have the potential to go, and we'll just move along from there. So in review, just as like we did last week and the previous weeks, the Bulls have a lot in their favor right now. We have momentum. We have momentum divergences. We have a falling dollar. We have bonds attempting to try to bottom out, and we have rotation. We also have a lower VIX, and we also have the idea of the year end seasonality to potentially uh, get that year end melt up, that Santa Claus rally that everybody likes to talk about. So we do have that potential to really kind of roll on forward and see where things may go. Uh, and we just want to keep those ideas in mind and really take our levels and take a look at where we have uh, if there's any changes underneath the surface. We really want to take a look at those at a day in to day out basis from here forward. One of the main things that has been quite impressive is Germany. Germany is up 8 weeks in a row. It's just been in an absolutely mind breathtaking move upward here, and that's it's above all the major resistance zones. We had a nice clearance above, what is this, the 25 level here. But we haven't had a pullback. That's the thing here. So we're 8 weeks high, and we haven't had a really good pullback to see how well things can hold up. And that's one of the major keys, how well can things handle a pullback. But yes, this is extremely bullish. But it's also a little bit dangerous in retrospect because we just don't know how well it's going to handle a pullback. And I think that's one of the things that we definitely want to pay attention to. And if we take a look at China here, the FXI, this is the large cap China ETF, the FXI. It's lagging. It's lagging completely. Something that we definitely want to be mindful of. It's had its few good days, but overall, if you want to compare it to everybody else, it's just not. It's not as fun, Uh, as far as the sectors go, a lot of things here. XLK, tech is always going to be in the back of everybody's mind. XLK, it contains mainly Apple and Microsoft. Those are your two big holdings there in the XLK, and the XLK right now is right at a pretty big resistance zone between 135 and 137. And one of the things that we've always talked about, well, as of lately, one of the things that we've talked about is not being uh, over positioned. I want us to remain cautious of getting too overexposed in one sector or the other due to rotation between market winners and market losers. And we all know that the previous winners, such as our consumer names, uh, can lag as well. So all the things that we've been doing really well in lately, those have the opportunity to still produce some lagging results. So just kind of be mindful of that and just kind of pay attention to what's happening below the surface. If we take a quick peek here at the dollar, you got a little bit of a almost, you could probably call this a bear flag, really. It's kind of messy, but, as long as the dollar holds below this 108 level here, there shouldn't be much of an issue for market bulls, really. I mean, we do, if you have a MACD indicator, pull up a MACD indicator, you'll see that if you take a look at the weekly chart, you'll see that this is the first like MACD crossover, little bear crossover that we've had since January 2021 to the bull side. So yeah, there is major support down here at this 103, 105 zone that we want to be mindful of as far as the dollar goes. So that is in general something we want to uh, overall pay attention to. We still have some liquidity issues that cuts both ways to the upside as well as to the downside. So we can still have these aggressive moves up and down, especially when we are talking about a VIX approaching its 20 level, and that we could see a bounce on the VIX from the 20 level, which means we would see a resistance rejection there on the SPY, and the SPY goes down, the VIX goes up. So yeah, I'm still kind of avoiding these new all-time high names just for that reason, for the liquidity issues, but we still have those good momentum crossovers. And I would just say overall, just don't become complacent. Complacency will definitely kill you in this market. Most of everything pretty much remains aligned as far as the indices and its sectors. Even as far as the market internals, bulls are definitely trying to continue for that melt up push. There are some contingencies which I've already mentioned that we need to be aware of, and that is the fact that yes, these indices are at potential resistance. We have the VIX near 20, and Europe, and especially the German DAX, is up 8 weeks in a row without a pullback. So we definitely have to be mindful of all these things. So, this mainly implies some level of limited risk to reward as bullish things are near resistance levels and zones, and the bearish things are nearing support. So this is definitely resolved by a pullback into support. By what I mean is we want to see a pullback at least to this hourly 50. If we get in between here, between the hourly 50 and the hourly 200, for me, that's just a neutral zone. It's not one that I want to kind of be in. You usually get these whipsaw actions once you get in those. But if you kind of look at this hourly 50, we've done a good job at holding over the past week. You can see that we pretty much rode the hourly 50 for the longest time, and it looked like we are going to break it. But ultimately, we just had a nice little melt up last week on relatively low volume. You can see Friday. I mean, we had 33% of its daily average volume. It was, obviously it was a half day, but I mean, if you take a look at the other days as well, it was, incredibly low volume. But that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to a holiday. But yeah, we had this nice little slow grind up, but what I want to pay attention to is this, pullback going to hold, especially on the hourly 50, which is right there at about that 397 level on the SPY. But if we don't lose it, if we do lose it, it's not the end of the world. I want to then turn my focus to a hold of the hourly 200, which we have done in the past here. Few weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, that was about 2 weeks ago now. And then we got that nice push higher. So all in all, my overall upper end target on the SPX is pretty much, if especially if we break the daily 200 at about 40.50. Of course, we have our prior swing high at about the 4100 level, and then we have a nice little resistance zone here at about 4180 to 4200. So those are definitely going to be my upper end targets on the SPX. And of course, any downside moves will, you know, take it as it comes. But I do fully expect that any kind of pullback that we do get, first key is to hold the hourly 50. If we don't hold the hourly 50, we become neutral. And then we want to see the hourly 200 hold up. And if the hourly 200 holds up, then, I'll turn my cap over and, probably look to become a little bit bearish here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So above the 50, we can remain bullish. Below the hourly 200, we can remain bearish. So taking things day in and day out, that's the nature of the beast. Just kind of keeping a short term time frame as far as like all my trades go. I don't want to hold longer. Really, I don't really want to hold anything longer than a week right now. Sectors to focus. I really like the XLB. Like I said, we like to take our steps. We go from the top up and work our way down. And from here, we'll take a look at our sectors. XLB, very good stuff. We're above the daily 200. Also, like energy names are still impressive. Maybe a little bit neutral here, but it is holding up. One thing of caution is definitely crude oil, and we'll kind of get to that. The TAN ETF. This is your solar ETF. So like First Solar, Run, all those guys, Enphase. Any of those guys look really fantastic. Enphase is right at all time highs. You could play this if you want to. It does have potential to maybe even try to take on that 400 level over time. I'm not saying it's going to be, an instant kind of thing, but you do have this nice potential here. Be mindful, it could also be a double top, but of course that has to confirm before anything, at least. So, watch the solar names. Tyler, I see that you are asking about Fubo, and we'll definitely take a look at that. Let's see. I also want to look at metals. This is the XME. This is the metals ETF. I definitely like it above this 53 level for a decent push toward to about 55. So you got names like AA, STLD. STLD has been fantastic. X has been fantastic as of late. You got a little bit of a shooter star there, so that might be something to kind of be mindful of, especially if we do get some downside pressure. Of course, I do. Healthcare continues to be extremely impressive. I definitely have Johnny John on my radar. Johnson and Johnson, same thing here. You still got a little bit of a shooter candle that, so we could see some pullback there. Triple M. Starting to get a little interesting there. It's probably not my favorite, but if you want to talk about favorites, here you go. LLY definitely looks fantastic as far as the healthcare and insurance names go. If you can break this 370 level, you're pretty much off to the races on that. And of course, UNH has been pretty popular as of lately. AbbVie has been, it provided us with a fantastic trade about 2 weeks ago. I would like it to consolidate, maybe even come in just a little bit more before pushing off from that. But yeah, that's just scratching the surface, really. Let's see if we also have, I don't really care too much for the communication sector. The communication sector has just been absolutely uh, trash for the longest time. You do have this nice little consolidation here. So if we do happen to get a pop above 51, that could give us a nice little test at the weekly 51 here. Excuse me, at the weekly 21 EMA. That's something that I do want to be mindful. I don't know why that was so large, but you know, so that gives us names like Disney, of course. Disney, they just reinstated their prior CEO, so they got rid of the old one, uh, whose name happened to be Bob, and they put in the other one, the other Bob, to replace the other Bob. So yeah, lots of Bobs in Disney. So if your name's Bob, apply to Disney. I hear they're hiring. We also got Target. We also had, I'm curious to see what some of these Black Friday retail names did over their weekend here. Walmart, of course, we can see there's a big difference between Walmart and Target with the charts there. Let's see. We also, one of our favorites, Kroger and Coke. Coke is definitely a favorite within the Discord. It's been easy to trade as of late. Just nice little S curves up and down, and just been nice steadfast there. Let's see. As far as banks go, there has been some option activity into Schwab, so I do want to, pay attention to Schwab next week. I believe Goldman had a pretty good day Friday as well. If you get a break above this 389, we'll just round it up to 390. You definitely have some good potential there. It looks like we got a little bit of a gap potential here to mess with. Maybe even a good push towards that 403 level. I definitely want to be paying attention to some of these financial names. If we take a look at Amazon, this is the XLY. Amazon and Tesla, we all know Tesla's been beat to a pulp. We had a very awesome oversold rally on Wednesday. We definitely took part in that within the Discord, and rode that wonderfully to the upside. You're still, in a downtrend as far as Tesla goes. There's trouble with, how investors feel about Elon, and, maybe him finding a successor uh, to Tesla as he, kind of takes more and more on a roll, with Twitter, and, wherever his attention may be, who knows. But anyway, Tesla definitely under some pressure. Amazon to the downside. I'm watching, especially if you break below last week's low of about 90.59. I like it for a push to retest these lows down here at about that 85 level there on Amazon. So you got some pretty good clean levels there to the downside, and that's something that I do want to pay attention to. Some of these weakness these weak names out there that haven't really gotten much of a boost even with the run up. Um, and if we do get to see some kind of movement to the downside, I want to be very much aware of some of these weak names. They might get beat up to a pulp even more. So yeah, there's Amazon. Also like Rivian to the downside. You're right here at a possible resistance level at this 29.50 30 low level, and I'm looking to push it back down to at least retest 28. It's not much movement, but it is definitely there. MU is definitely on my short watch list. Semiconductors, they haven't been uh, well, they've been, hit or miss, especially with, we've had their earnings, and there's a lot of things going on with China and all that. So, Nvidia, you got Nvidia. They've been beat up to a pulp, and you might have this little interesting cup and handle or rounding bottom type situation. So, might have your eyes on Nvidia. I like AMD as well. If you want to pick a semiconductor, if you really want to take a look at something, take a look at let's see, IBM. IBM's just been absolutely crushing it these past few weeks. Yeah, it could use a pullback as well, but I mean, this is as bullish can get. This is a good chart that you would even expect during 2020. This was just 2021. This is just a fantastic uh, a name out there in this market, and really, it's almost a very good safe haven name that a lot of people don't really talk about too much. But man, this thing is just fantastic. If you like your war guys, your war names, defense, RTX looks pretty good here for some potential. 100 obviously going to be a psychological level. So if we do get some kind of melt up, especially above 98, you're looking at about 100 as far as that. Let's take a look at LMT. LMT, yeah, same thing here. If you like LMT better, they both have pretty decent options. It's not, sometimes they can be a little illiquid, so kind of be, aware of what you're getting into. If you do like options, of course, shares are safer. If you want to do shares, just grab the shares, have a stop, and play your rules as far as that goes. You don't need me to tell you how to do that. So you just want to be smart about it. Like I've said, we're at these levels where things are right at resistance to the upside, and all of these the VIX is right there at support at that 20. So you just want to be mindful and kind of have that in the back of your head. Tyler, I haven't forgot about you. You asked about Fubo. Fubo, if you ask me, sure, I've used Fubo. It's if I were to pick one, I'd pick Fubo over Hulu. Um, it was a great service, to be honest with you. I never had any trouble with them, but this chart just you got a series of lower lows. It's kind of busted. You lost this support at 335. And you're just kind of breaking further and further down. I think you got room to about 235. So if it were me, I'd call it bearish from here. And yeah, let's pull up a weekly chart just to kind of see here. Yeah, even this looks incredibly horrible. Sure, you got a weekly squeeze, but it looks like that weekly squeeze is looking to fire short. So if you lose 245, yeah, send it on back down even further. I mean, this is a penny name after all. I can't get bullish on this even on the hourly, because look at this hourly structure. Uh, you broke the hourly 50 to the downside, and really you've just kind of just ridden the wave down from there. There's no signs or symptoms of reversals. I don't have any kind of uh buy signals here anywhere. So I mean, if you want to play it, you have to play it safe, especially to the upside. Now, if it were me, I'd wait for a bounce and catch this baby to short it back on down. That's what I would do. Not financial advice. You play your own trade plan there, but that's just something I would personally do. Just let it wait for a bounce, let it come up to this $3 level perhaps, and just short the crap out of it and push it on back down with everybody else. But yeah, If you want to go long, understand your risk to reward. Hard stop below 250, in my opinion, uh, with a target of three, secondary target of 360 ish. If you want to take on a bull side or contrarian uh, trade as far as Fubo goes. Let's see here. Let's see. We already talked a little bit. I know I'm going to kind of jump around. I apologize. Yeah, Fubo. Yeah, Fubo is $3. It's pretty crazy, especially if you remember. I remember trading this thing back when it was in its 20s, or even higher. I mean, this thing is just fallen from grace. It kind of reminds me of a lot of names out there. I mean, of course, Palantir is a popular one. I think Laser wasn't Laser pretty popular. All these guys look pretty similar in retrospect, but yeah, tough times for Fubo. And the thing is, Fubo, yeah, Roku, yeah, yeah, Roku just fall from grace. Double top at 490, and can you imagine being the guy who bought Roku at up here? Lord, I hope they had a stop there, because Lord, or even a tighter stop, maybe even right there. But shoot, I couldn't imagine buying Roku at 490. But of course, it was pandemic days, and the world was ending. We're all going to stay at home, and uh, the we have this change in the workforce, and which, I mean, we still kind of deal with that. There's plenty of work from home stuff that people do, of course, and even my wife, she works full time from home as well. So, there's still part of that narrative. So I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, Fubo, uh, great service, just terrible stock. It's just one of those things. Great service, just bad altogether. Let's see. Oh, if I like a vehicle name, I like GM. General Motors here above 40.50. Right it up to about 41.30. I know it's not a large target to the upside, but it can it's definitely got the structure there. We got decent stacked EMAs. We got decent momentum as well. Sure, the ATR is kind of boring. It moves about 1.3 points per day. Uh, but yeah, overall structure is good. We got structure. Look at this big resistance level here on the weekly here, as you already kind of see. I already got that white line lined up there. So you break above that. I mean, you're off. You're kind of talking business here. Here on General Motors, I definitely like the look of that for sure. If you want to add that to your watch list as well. I know I kind of touch base here on energy. I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but take a peek at crude oil. If you use MACD, you'll notice on the daily chart that there is a MACD sell signal there, and overall it has sell signals on other indicators out there as well. So not looking too good for oil here. So that's one of the things that does make oil names a little bit iffy to kind of play. You do have a multi squeeze as well. You can see here that I do have these red boxes. I don't know if you can see them on the stream there, but you got a daily, a 2-day, 3-day, 4 days, kind of up here on the far right, up here. Those are, it's a multi-time frame squeeze. So that tells me if there's a squeeze on the daily or the 2-day chart, 3-day chart, 4-day chart, weekly chart. But you can see here that we got some red signals here on the 3-day and the 2-day. So when you have compression, that's that, on those time frames, those are longer time frames, and you're already starting to see these moves down. The pressure's already, the shift and momentum is already to the downside. So once those week long squeezes start to fire off, that creates a lot of potential to the downside, or to the upside, depending on the way things are firing. But this is implying that the squeeze, the multi-day squeeze, is going to fire short, and this will give us a move. If we break below 75, which we have already started to, or we're getting close to at least, it does make it looked like a very comfortable trade for a bear. So, crude oil, if you have any oil names, take a peek at them. Maybe you want to go short. Um, Yeah, I know some of these guys look really good. Chevron, Zom, Oxy. We know Oxy has Uncle Buffett in it, and Oxy. I'm probably not going to take, but uh, hourly structure does look a little bearish here, especially if you break below 70. You got some wiggle room to the downside. You got my levels there: 68.50, 66, 70 to the downside. There's some potential there. Let's just say that. And if you have any oil names, just kind of shout them out, and we'll take a peek at them. That also, kind of reminds me of Nat Gas. It's had its melt up and more so sideways, but it's trying to resolve itself. It hasn't really quite decided what it wants to do. But as long as it kind of holds above this 50 and 7 zone, I don't mind it too much. Natural gas, uh, LNG, Cheniere looks pretty good. Apologize if I'm not pronouncing that right. I feel like I pronounce it different every single time. So your nat gas names, eh, interesting. I'm not too keen on them. I mean, I think we played LNG not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back and look. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we played LNG not too long ago. Let's see. Copper, of course, metals. Copper, unfortunately, this one, copper is a leading economic indicator that everybody should kind of pay attention to, and we can kind of see how messy copper has been. We had this nice swoop higher. We came close to the daily 200, and then right back down, and you got a little bit of a bear flag, kind of breaking down again. So yeah, copper remains sloppy, very inconsistent at best. Uh, can't break 4 for some reason. 4 is definitely the resistance, but it also needs to hold this 330 mark at least, which is down here. Excuse me, about right here. That's kind of where we want to hold. So it's got plenty of room to kind of push to the downside. One of my favorite copper names is Freeport McMoran. Uh, you know, good, good, decent daily structure. But if copper happens to break down, I'm going to watch this right at the daily 200. If you lose that 36.30, sure you can fall on down and maybe retest this daily 21 at 35.50, and from there you get a reset to the weekly mean there all the way down at 33.20. But overall, not a bad chart on FCX. But in generally speaking, copper, it could be better, especially if you are a market bull. You definitely want to kind of be paying attention to that. VIX, like I said, it's coming down to 20. We want to be mindful of that. As far as the VX goes, this is the volatility futures. I have an alert set right here at that 27 level. If we break above 27 for some reason, then watch out. Of course, we have the inverted 10-year and 2-year. This is, something that everybody should pay attention to, because that generally means that there's some kind of black swan event that's kind of lurking. But of course, it's been yet to be seen, of course, and with everything going on in the world, who knows? So yeah, just kind of be mindful of that. We are still very much so in a tricky market, as far as we don't want to fight the Fed. The Fed's trying to slow everything down. You know, as we do have FOMC. Uh, we have one more meeting, and it's they've hinted that they might slow down rates uh, to 50 basis points on the last meeting. They might do 75. If I haven't checked as of lately, if we take a look at what the futures are pricing in, let's see if that page will load for me. There you go. So the CME futures probability of a 50 basis point rate hike is at about 75%, and about 25% to the down to 75 basis points. This could all change. We have a lot of data coming out still before that final decision is to be made. Let's see. Someone did ask about Bitcoin. Sure, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I'm not touching it. My thoughts on Bitcoin has not changed in a long time. Even when Bitcoin was trading way up here at the 30s, when it was first consolidating on right about here. This is when I said this is trash. I'm not going to touch it until it hits at least 12K, and we've so far come down to 15K. FTX, the FTX collapse situation, it's the first domino. Uh, I think the next domino to fall is going to be Tether. Once that falls, then I'm interested. Yeah, let Bitcoin come on in. That doesn't mean you can't, trade it. By all means, you can. Just for me personally, I'm not going to do anything with it for extended periods of time. Like I said, my short, I don't want to hold anything longer than at most a week. If any of my swing trades are going to be 2-3 days, uh, maybe till Friday. I don't like holding things over the weekend. Still, just because there's a lot of variables, a lot of unknowns. Yeah, lots of crazy stuff there. Bitcoin, yeah, I'm not too much of a player. Coinbase, uh, yeah, busted completely, trash. Holding 40 for now. You can take a look at Mara, which is looks like it wants to retest 5 again at some point. Let's see, what was another one? Hut. Hut used to be one of my favorites, and this thing's absolutely busted just because it has so much Bitcoin under its belt. Hut does for sure, and of course, Bitcoin's pricing has just gone down, which means Hut just keeps going to fall on down. But all right, let's see here. Economic calendar. Yeah, it's busy. We got Bullard tomorrow. The European Central Bank leader Lagarde speaks tomorrow as well. Tuesday, we have the Bank of England Bailey speaking. We have Canadian GDP. We have U.S. Consumer confidence. Wednesday, we have preliminary GDP, U.S. JOLTS, ADP non-farm payrolls, pending home sales, and Powell speaks on Wednesday. Everybody be aware of that. Wednesday's a big day. Thursday, we have core PCE, unemployment data, ISM PMI, Lagarde speaks again. And then Friday, we have the unemployment rate. So definitely a lot of things going on this week. Earnings, as far as earnings go, let's see. What am I looking at? Let's see. We got Billy. We got Intuit, Workday. There's a lot of ones that I mean, we'll pay attention to it, but I'm not going to play any of these guys. I don't think. You got Petco, Five Below. That one could be interesting. Let's see where they are. That's 5. Not bad. Not bad. Structurally speaking, you got good structure. Momentum looks good. Let's see. You got good structure on the hourly as well. You've been holding up. You got maybe a little bit. You got a momentum divergence on the hourly. So be mindful of that. You got Ulta. Ulta is on Thursday. You might have a little bit of a double top issue here on Ulta. Need to break 450 to invalidate that. Break 450 and hold it at least. Let's see here. We got Big Lots, Kroger, Thursday morning as well. And then you got Cracker Barrel on Friday. Let's see. Okta on Wednesday afternoon. Victoria's Secret. Shout out to Jax, the singer who sings that really catchy, toony song. Victoria's Secret. Secret is that he lives in Ohio. I don't know if y'all have heard that song, but yeah, it's kind of catchy and annoying because they play it on the radio 24/7. Let's see. Booze. D DD like DuPont. Let's see, DuPont. Let's see. You do have XDiv coming up here on the 29th. Be mindful of that. It is only a 33-cent payout. Hopefully, this is the same thing. Resistance level at 72. Support down here at 68. You're right here at resistance. Yeah, like it's one of those things too. Tricky situation where you have to kind of pick your battle on what you want to do and stick to it. Sure, Darvis, nice Darvis box. Uh, break down below 68. I'd probably be a little bit more cautious. Above 72, sure, it can run. Let's see here. Let's clear those lines out and take a peek. Structurally speaking, yeah, great structure. You see all these green marks up here. That's good. You got good signals. The histogram, of course, dark blue as opposed to light blue. So momentum is kind of waning just a little bit. Hourly momentum is clinging here. You can see here as well on the hourly. You got that nice little zone here. So above 72, 72 and a quarter, you're good. Below 68, you're not so good. You're in neutral here. And then, of course, not so neutral below the hourly 200. So you definitely got levels to work with. Just you're at that spot where you're at overhead resistance and your support is a little bit further down to kind of work with. So sure, you can play it. I'll have to go back the last time I played DuPont, but I like it. Chart wise, yeah, look at this level here. Yeah, nice chart to be honest with you. You've been picking out some good ones lately. So shout out to you, man. Yeah, you can see the 72 levels, big spot here for DuPont. 72, you got some wiggle room to 75, and then of course 78. Let's check out this weekly chart just to check it though, because we always want to check our longer time frames. There's that 72 level. Yeah, you might be trying to bull flag here, which would be kind of ideal. I wouldn't mind that. Yep, 79, 80, 85. Not bad. Pay attention to the consumer discretionary on that. Let's see. Yeah, not bad. I like that one. It's probably one of the better looking charts out there. Just, be mindful. Yeah, make trading not tricky. Tomorrow might be a wait and see kind of approach, but, there's things that we can definitely trade for sure as far as a day trading basis. Sure, we'll take a look at AMC. We'll always take a look at AMC because it's a fan favorite. Everybody loves AMC. When does that Avatar movie come out? Because that will be, I think that'll be a nice little uh, caveat to trade. Above eight, room to 850. Then you can talk about the nines, perhaps. Sure, the squeeze is over, bro. Yeah, 9, 10, even at max 10. You got a big resistance level there at 10. That's going to be a psychological level, as well as the other indicator confluences. Let's see, room down. I mean, if it wants to break down again, yeah, sure, we'll send it down to 5. But yeah, we got that Avatar moving coming out soon, and I know that's going to be a big dude. That movie's like 3 hours long. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but yeah, the new Avatar movie is like three. Yeah, PB and J, yeah, just said it. It's a 3 hour long movie. What was the last like? I know they've been making movies longer and longer, but I'm trying to remember. What was that first one? Yeah, is there an intermission in that movie? Just to get up and kind of pee and walk around, smoke break for the boys, Yeah, December 16th, that's when it comes out. So we got a few ways to a little bit longer to go before that comes out, but do I want to go see it? Yeah, I want to go see it for sure. I think that's going to be I mean, if it's as good as the first one, I'm definitely down for it. Yeah, 3 holy crap. I mean, you're talking about uh, that'll be a late night. I'll have to go on a weekend. I can't do that on a weeknight. Is that a Thursday release? When's the 16th? Let's take a look. It's a Friday. Oh man. So they'll probably do a Thursday showing. I would have to convince the wife. $25 for a home rental. Yeah, that's a valid point. I wonder if no, there's no way Disney's going to release that on Disney Plus, right? Some of these lines because they're kind of annoying. Let's see. Disney. Ugh. I like it above 102 for the short term trade to the upside. If you kind of lose this 94.30 level, yeah, send it back down for sure. Yep, that's your hourly 50 there as well. Yeah, you're kind of it's close, man. That thing's looking like it's borderline breaking down. Let's see. Someone wants to give me a kiss on the forehead. That's nice. I appreciate it. You'll have to fight with my wife on that one, I'm afraid. Let's see. Okay, so we got Disney. Yeah, I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that on Disney Plus. That just sounds like backwards. I don't even know why they started to do that. Let's see. Following the impact on consumers during the COVID-19 pandemic, Disney made a commitment to stick to one of three release schedules for its titles: 45 days of theatrical exclusivity as a minimum for some of its tentpole films. Fancy. A hybrid release with premiere access and a theatrical run, or a straight to Disney Plus release. James Cameron is a firm believer in the theatrical experience. Yes. Good on him. 45 days of theatrical exclusivity seems the most reasonable, but it is very unlikely that Disney will stick to that minimum because Avatar films, despite only one of them being releasing at this point, have become synonymous with a box office giant. Yeah. I mean, what they had like, what was the budget for this movie? This thing was freaking nuts. Avatar budget. Budget. I should probably clarify. $250 million budget. The way of the water. Wow. How's shop looking? SVG A5. Let's take a peek at Shopify. Yeah, one of those tech names, fallen from grace. As we all know, this thing used to be a fantastic name during the COVID days. Let me get rid of some of these lines just to make it kind of clean here. Let's see, weekly charts. You have a nice little weekly squeeze. I am going to point that out. You got a nice squeeze here. I would like for things to kind of pick up pace just a little bit. I like it above. Let's see, there's my drawing tools at. There we go. Let's start out with, you got some overhead resistance on the weekly at 45. All right, so let's go down to the daily here, just see. Daily 200 at the 42, so that's going to be a indicator resistance there, and we can always, that is the prior peak to at 41.73.42. If you want to day trade it, break above Thursday's high at 37.04 for a good run up to about 38.3. If you're looking for a longer term hold there, I would have my stop like a little bit further down here, probably about that 34 mark. If you're trying to swing some shares, it's okay. It's not the greatest thing. It's more like neutral. It's in neutral territory for me, especially on the hourly time frame. Momentum kind of lacking here, especially on the hourly. You can see those levels, 37.04 to about 42 on the hourly. Then you got 45.43. So if you want to play it, I'd play the break of Thursday's high above 37 for a push towards 38. And then you have 41.73 there. If you want to play the downside, break below 34.38, support for your first take profit level on the short side, 33.45. And then you have a nice gap to fill. Potential all the way down to 31.50 and 30.31. And then, of course, your next level support down there at 28. So you got some pretty clean levels here on Shop. You're a little bit more so in neutral zone here. But yeah, above 37, you can try it to the long side, have a stop. Of course, if you go long, have a stop around that 34 mark. If you're going short, I would have a stop at 37, maybe 37.50, give you some wiggle room, and play it that way as well. Not bad. Not bad, not great. I like how it's clean. I can take a look at the chart and easily go, okay, here's this. If I'd have to spend more than like 10 minutes trying to figure out what the heck is going on, then it's probably a trade I don't want to be involved in. Can we take a look at Microsoft? Sure. As far as Microsoft goes, one thing that I do want to say oversplode is that the XLK, uh, Microsoft and Apple are your two biggest holders within the XLK, and the XLK has a major resistance zone here between 135 and 137 with the daily 200 coming up. So let's keep that in mind. As far as the XLK goes, there is some overhead uh, situations that we want to be mindful of. So if we take a peek at Microsoft here, let's see, above 248 is what I got. Above 248, yeah, room to 251. I would keep that as a day trade. If you do swing it, I wouldn't swing it long. Well, I wouldn't swing it like for extended period of time at least. I mean, you can try, just have a stop, for goodness sake. Like I've said, we've kind of been talking about how things are right at resistance levels, and the VIX is right at potential support. So your first price target is going to be 25. Excuse me, above 248, 251. Above 251, you're really looking at about 260. So, and then above 260, you got the daily 200 up here at about 267.50, which is your prior swing high. So you got some clean levels here. Just kind of be mindful of what's going on with the broader picture of things. If you're looking for some potential downside, yeah, let's take in consideration the break of the hourly 50. That's at about 243.40. You got some clean levels here at about 239.20. You had a nice little trap there, it looks like. And then, of course, downward pressure below 236.50. That would send you, way on down. You got a nice little gap below here, down to about 230, give or take. So upside projection, bullish above 248. The bullish side above 48 for 251, above 251, 260. Below 243, you're looking at 240. Below 240, you're looking at 234 and 225 ish. Hope that helps. Let me know if I need to go back over those levels if I went too quick there. Okay, SVJ, you said your long average is at 31 on shop. It's a pretty good average, not gonna lie. NASCAR all out. You also use TOS. Yeah, TOS is the way to go, man. Thinkorswim is fantastic. I wish. I know we got a lot of members with us. Hopefully one day they'll be. Do they? No, they don't have access to TOS. Uh, yeah, TOS is definitely the way to go. Now, if you are a beginner trader, you're probably using Robinhood or Webull. Nothing wrong with that. There are pros and cons of each. There's a lot of cons for Robinhood. But as soon as you graduate from those, take a peek at Thinkorswim if you can. It's great charting. You can make your own indicators. You can pretty much customize anything and everything with it. But all right. Let's see here. We are coming up at about an hour here, and that's usually when I like to give my final thoughts and wrap things up. But if you have any ticker requests, shout them out or forever hold your peace. We are looking at, we're doing good as far as the bulls go. As far as the market bulls, we're doing great. Now, we just have to be mindful. We're right here at the daily 200. We got a little bit of headroom to 405. If we lose, if we lose, we want to see how things handle a pullback, mainly to the hourly support here, to the hourly 50 on the SPY or the SPX, whatever you decide to look at. And then especially the hourly 200, we want to see those things hold together. The VIX is coming down to 20, which is a potential spot for the VIX in itself to bounce. So we want to pay attention to that. Uh, Plenty of economic factors that are outside of our control with Fed speakers. We got data points coming out pretty much every single day, which makes things a lot of fun. The dollar needs to continue to stay bearish, uh, especially below 108. Below 108 on the dollar, the bulls can continue to breathe uh, from there. Uh, let's see here. I think that's pretty much covers it, guys. SPX, yeah, we already talked about that. Let's see, crude oil, we did touch base on that. A lot of things, just understand your risk to reward levels there, especially if you're looking for entries into anything. If you are already entered into thing, if you're already in a position, maybe raise your stops, have trail up your stops just so you can protect profits in case things do get nasty. But overall, bulls have a lot going for themselves, and it's really at an interesting spot for things. We got momentum divergences, we got the falling dollar, bonds, over positioned bears. Yeah, in a way. Um, we got good rotation going on. It's just a matter of how things respond at these overhead levels. And of course, Germany and Europe has been on a tear without a pullback. So we got to just be mindful of where everyone is at. So yeah, pretty good stuff there. Uh, let's see. You've made more money on Webull this year. Yeah, Webull's a good platform for sure. Let's see. Yeah, that is true. That is kind of interesting how Thinkorswim doesn't do the IPO kind of stuff, the pre-IPO. I think Webull does a pretty good job at that. I will give Webull that. But all right, let's see. All in all, I appreciate every single one of y'all for coming out and hanging out with us. If you join us on YouTube or Facebook, I definitely appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a good rest evening. If you're here in the Discord, I will be live tomorrow morning, of course, and we'll kind of keep it going from there. I will post my watch list for tomorrow, as well as my notes for this week for everybody to have, so that they know my levels and some of my scan results as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining you guys on the social media. Thank you so much for coming in and hopping on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My email is fuzz@stockdads.com. If you have any questions, I will definitely respond to you as far as that goes, or just shoot me a message here on Facebook, or yell at the mods to come get me. But all right, guys, I will see you all tomorrow morning, and we will get ready for a nice fun week ahead. But all right, take care. Bye, guys.